So here we go. Welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is After the Smoke is Clear, segment that I like to call Fly Information. Now, the reason that we call this segment that is because, you know, people who aren't from Canada might not know, but Canada geese, they fly in that V. They do that so that it's aerodynamic for the geese flying behind them. And they take turns leading the pack, making it easier for the rest of the geese. So, you know, that's the idea here, is basically we just like to share the spotlight, send love to artists across the map, and try to just build community where kind of, you know, rising tide lifts all ships, that type of mentality. I like to put, you know, good music into people's ears, so people who don't normally get heard as much might get, you know, a little bit further out, and just try to push kind of local level indie hip hop every week. So that's what I do on After the Smoke is Clear. You can find episodes of After the Smoke is Clear at mixcloud.com/Doobyis. They go up there Mondays and Thursdays. Some weeks it, you know, doesn't happen twice a week, but if I can, I do them twice a week. Lately I've been playing a lot of catch up over there, playing a ton of music that has been kind of coming out over the last couple of months. And some of that music has been featuring the man I'm about to talk to here, Javier Escuela. And here, just one sec, I will make sure we got him. But yeah, he's been putting out a ton of music. Definitely a Lethbridge representative, kind of big dog on the scene here. And put out, I think, last year a project called the Moolah EP. Shit, was that 2 years ago now? I think last year. During pandemic anyways, there was the Moolah EP came out. And then there's been a string of singles over the past month or so. So without further ado, Javier Escuela, I guess I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yo, what up? Thanks for having me on, Doobyis. I appreciate it, bro, for real.
Yeah, man.
So I'm Javier, sometimes better known as L Rev or Javier Escuela. I've been doing this rap thing for a while here in Lethbridge, and yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be on with you, man, for real.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you coming through. So, you know, I've been doing the show here based out of Lethbridge for the past 2 years now, going on season 3. But really, like, I'm an outsider to the Lethbridge scene, so I appreciate you coming by, and I'm hoping that we can kind of dip into, you know, as well as talking about the music you've been working on recently and stuff, of course, into kind of the history a little bit more of the scene around here, because, you know, I've heard a few things from people here and there, but really, like, aside from what's happened over the past 2 years, I've been kind of sleeping on the Lethbridge scene. I used to be based out of Edmonton, and, you know, you were one of the few artists that I had heard. At that point, it was kind of through, like, KOTD stuff that you were doing. But I just wanted to ask, like, kind of coming out of Lethbridge, like, it's not a place people think of as a hip-hop hub, obviously, right? But what led you into the hip-hop world? Like, how'd you get involved in this?
DJ Buddha. So
hoping you'd
many years
ago, man.
Yeah, many years ago, you can't mention Lethbridge hip-hop. Like, in my opinion, in my eyes, you know, from my perspective, I can't bring it up without bringing James into this.
Oh, yeah.
So Buddha was instrumental. He was a person that had a vision that was bigger than anybody around when it came to live entertainment, when it came to hip hop in Lethbridge. Him and guys like DJ Damon, like they kind of had this outlook, a big city mentality for Lethbridge. You know, they wanted it to be like something special, and like, to be completely honest, they really did. And like, at that point in time, Lethbridge had never seen much hip hop, like, you know, minus a Snoop Dogg show at the NMAX, and, you know, I guess the occasional Ice Cube show or something like that. Like, that didn't even happen until after Buddha. But like, Buddha was the first guy to bring hip hop into Lethbridge, and Buddha brought so much hip hop into Lethbridge that we had some of the artists that weren't going to Calgary and Edmonton come to Lethbridge at a time when it wasn't as common. So like we had, you know, D12, Royce, Classified, and Joe Budden on a tour.
Yeah, I've heard stories of some of these guys coming through here and been like, what? They showed up in Lethbridge? But it makes sense. If somebody's paying the money, they'll show up, right? So
and there was something about Buddha that just like he was like this big embodiment of hip hop everywhere he went. Like everywhere he went, he was just so with the culture and so like humble about it too, but he just wanted people to come. That's all he wanted. He had a show on CKXU as well called Drop in Science. Okay. He used to just be straight hip hop, you know. He'd play our jams too, and like he'd play all the stuff that he loved, and it was just the first hip hop show on the radio that we ever got to hear as kids, you know what I mean? So like we were excited about that.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it basically just led into like him bringing shows, and then us realizing that like we could be part of those shows, and like we could be on tour like these artists, and and him putting me on my very first Western Canadian tour, you know what I mean? Like it was Buddha. It was all Buddha.
Nice, man. So did he host like locally? Was there like cypher nights happening anywhere, or was there kind of that like boots on the ground scene in Lethbridge, or was it more like guys recording in the background kind of?
Yeah, we did. So like the way I met Buddha was we walked down into this basement suite on the north side. It was me and my boy Hale, and we walked down into the basement suite, and Buddha's sitting there with 2 crates and 2 turntables in front of him on the floor. And there was like, I think there was a mic hanging from the roof, or maybe there was no mic at all. I can't remember. We used to always have mics hanging from the roof. And so we walked in, and he just started playing beats. And he just started playing like dope Nas instrumentals, Tupac instrumentals, like dope things that he had. And so we just started rapping, and like it was like freestyle. We just walked in there, we started freeing, and that's how we like started rapping. Yeah. You know what I mean? Before Buddha, when Ronnie got me into rapping, that's how we used to do it. We used to go sit under the bridge and just freestyle battle each other. You know what I mean? Go off the top as much as we could. And so yeah, there was definitely like that cypher mentality, and it was like we learned our etiquette early, you know what I mean? Like we learned how to spit for, 30 seconds to a minute. I mean, some of us, you know, obviously there's those guys out there that like, you know, they'd be in a cypher and they just be rapping and never stopping. And when it's freestyling, it's like, it can get a little tiresome. It's like, you got to pass the mic, right?
For sure. But listen for when that beat drop is and shut up at some point.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And we'd always have just like a beatboxer too. Like if we didn't have beats, Hale would kick the beatbox. Or I'd kick a beatbox, you know what I mean? Like whatever we had to do. There'd be times where me and Ronnie would be the only rappers there, and I'd be beatboxing, he'd be rapping, and then he would pass it to me, and he'd start beatboxing, and I'd start rapping, and we'd like go back and forth like that.
So as far as like you kind of stepped in the door through the battle scene, right? As far as getting publicity wider. Okay, so were most of those at like KOTD events in Calgary? Because I remember traveling down to Calgary for some KOTD stuff back in the day. But I'd never remember seeing any in Lethbridge. Was there a Lethbridge KOTD event? Or
there was one.
Were they doing? Okay.
There was one.
All right. But yeah, so would there have been like a lot of travel into Calgary too to do shows and stuff like back in your earlier?
Yo, it's funny. Okay, so this is funny story. So when we first started rapping, we first started freestyling, we came up off the era of off the top battles, and that's how battles were. Like when you saw Biggie battle on the street, you know what I mean? Like that was freestyle. When you saw Eminem at the, Rap Olympics, that was freestyle. You know what I mean? Like you could tell it was freestyle. And so we came up off that. So we were always freeing, trying as much as we could to be freestyle. And with that came this kind of like shunning to having a written during a battle. You know what I mean? Like, all that shit was written. You know what I mean? Like when 8 Mile came out, I remember 8 Mile came out, and I like left the place thinking I wish I could do that. And then go lo and behold, a couple years later, we're freestyling all the time. Yeah. So when that era was happening, right? And we were stoked about battling. And then we heard about this King of the Dot through Jerry and Keegan. They were like, yo, there's these battles, King of the Dot. I just heard about them. Like apparently they're getting like lots of views on YouTube. And like YouTube was just new at that point. This is like 2008, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we hear about these rap battles that are going on. Hollahan's battling McKnight, and like Organic and Hollahan had a tag team battle. We show up to this event, and we're just thinking like the same way we've battled, because I was holding battles before I ever heard of King of the Dot. I was holding what was called the Battlegrounds. So I had like 6 installments of the Battlegrounds where it was just freestyle. You get your opponent picked out of a hat, and you have to make it to the final, and in the final you'll get a few $100.
Okay. I've seen you guys rep Battle Creek, and I mean, I know that's like the name
Battle
of
Park.
Battle Park. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So, I
Battle
wondered if that was like an old event. Like, was that a battle event, or
no? It wasn't.
That's just repping the location.
Yeah, it just came from Indian Battle Park. You know what I mean? So we just called it Battle Park. But either way, like Battlegrounds was like a battle event, and so we went to King of the Dot, and the King of the Dot guys told us, hey, like, I know you guys didn't realize this upon coming here, but these guys write their battles.
You're supposed to have writtens, yeah.
And they rehearse it, right? Yeah. They rehearse it, and then it's better.
Oh, and there's no beats
up there, and we're
yeah.
like, yo, this is fucking whack. Like, fuck that shit. And then they were like, if you guys want to battle, like, nobody's written for you, so nobody here is gonna battle you. So you guys can freestyle battle each other if you want. Like, and if you're good, we'll post the footage. Yeah. And we were like, fuck that. We don't want it. No, I didn't come up here to battle my homies. Like, I wanted to battle all the good Calgary battlers, you know? And I had battled in Calgary before. Like, I'd won a couple rent battles, you know? They used to call them rent battles because you get $500 at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I won a couple rent battles. I even won one that Holohan was at. And it's funny because he lost in, like, the first or second round.
That guy's a beast of an MC, man. I got to spend one night rapping with that guy, and he fucking made my jaw drop a few times, that's for sure.
Crazy. Dude, his freestyle, he has like an eidetic memory when it comes to rhyming. So like he thinks of a word with multiple syllables, and his mind immediately starts remembering all the things he knows that rhymes with it. And while he's freestyling, he pulls out of nowhere. So get this, we're in a rap battle, and everybody's freestyling. Holohan comes up, freestyles. Everybody accuses him of it being written because it's so dope. Everybody's like, yo, this is way too good. So he gets voted out first round by the crowd because the crowd is like, that shit was written. It was so funny because he was freestyling so good.
That's the danger. You get too good and they think you're right.
Yeah. So we thought it was whack. Anyways, we thought it was whack. The written battling was whack. We're like, fuck this. We're going to go watch a movie at the movie theater and go back home. Fuck this battle shit, written battles. What the fuck is that? And so we left, right? And then like sooner or later, you know, we ended up just being like, wait a second, like these are really good. Like I think I could do this. I could write my battles.
I had a lot of those same feelings when I first saw KO TD and was thinking like, but they're not even rapping on beats. They get to pause. Like it's like it's a talent, but it's different than a rapping talent, you know, like it's witty bars and it's funny and whatever, but yeah, it's totally a different talent than freestyling off the top of your dome trying to diss a guy as somebody beatboxes besides you. That's completely
it's evolved so much too, like over the years. Battle rap, like I'm still an avid KOTD supporter, you know, like I'm subscribed to their Twitch. I watch all the live events. I watch the URL shit. Like I love battle rap culture.
They've done so much for so many different artists who kind of just use it as a doorway too, right? So yeah, absolutely.
So it's fun, and I'm hoping that, like, you know, one day I'll probably step back into a King of the Dot battle. Like I've been invited out to Vancouver by Copacetic, and I've been invited, like, even if it ends up on like a Ground Zero, like whatever, you know, I'm cool with that.
No, people would love to see it, man. That'll be dope.
Yeah, but like one day, you know what I mean? It's not my prerogative right now because I know how hard it is, and I know how, like, it's just, I learned from battle rap, but to apply those things in battle rap is so like rookie, because like the guys who've been doing it well are doing it so well that they do it.
They wake up and do it
all the time
until they go to
sleep.
Like
the double entendres and triple entendres and like all these crazy
references to other bars that guys have dropped in other battles and stuff.
Nuts, like just nuts. Dudes will go on entire angles off of 2 lines that somebody said in a previous battle, and it's like
somebody
a whole minute worth of, you know, excellent material.
Yeah, man, it's entertaining as hell. It's definitely a talent.
It wouldn't be entertaining as hell like it is if it was freestyle. Let's just face it.
Totally, yeah.
Freestyling's very difficult, and it's never as clean, and that's what's good about freestyling.
That goes for like people getting on the radio and doing it too, right? Like I think a lot of people who aren't really in the hip hop culture see these videos of like so-and-so freestyles on Funk Flex or so-and-so freestyles on LA Leakers or whatever, and they think that these guys are really coming off the top of the head, and it's like, maybe they are, maybe they're guys like Holohan who do that so much that they get that good at it, but can they all be that good? I don't know. I feel like some of them are written, but it is what it is. It's still entertaining, right?
I think they're all written.
Yeah,
you don't go on a radio with that big of a platform.
I don't think so.
No, unless you're fucking super nat.
But
if you're
okay,
super nat,
but then again, the other half of me is like, okay, but I can't even fathom how well, like, you know, Connor McDavid can handle a puck, right? Like, I was all right at hockey, but I can't do nothing close to that. So sometimes I think like, well, I'm all right at freestyling. Maybe there are guys out there who like maybe Black Thought really can come off the top like that for 10 fucking minutes.
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe if you've been making your money doing it for 40 years and that's all you ever think about, maybe guys do get that good, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's tough to know, but I think a lot of them have to be written for sure. Anyway, though, to switch off this freestyle tangent we're on here, I want to ask about the name change, man. And you already mentioned it, so I was going to ask, like, am I even allowed to mention that, like, hey, this is the artist formerly known as L Rev, and check out all of his old catalog and everything? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Because I looked and it's still up. So yeah, you know, people should look into if you're not familiar with Javier's work, look into his past stuff as L Rev, because there's a ton of music over there that's worth hearing. I played a lot of that stuff on ATSIC in the past 2 years too. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. You know, but I wanted to ask another thing here about the name change. Is when I did Google it, I know you game a little bit, and when I Googled it, I saw that Javier Escuela is a character in Red Dead Redemption 2. Is that, did you mean for that to be a thing?
Absolutely.
Or was that an accident? Or okay.
No,
okay.
not at all. Absolutely. Javier Escuela is a, you know, kind of like a loyal bandit outlaw. You know, he's a bandito. Man. You know what I mean? He's the Mexican guy. And that's kind of like, that goes pretty deep as far as like the culture thing, but it's just like, I love that game.
No,
and
I like that game a lot too, but I didn't recognize the name until I saw it on Google. Sorry.
I was originally gonna just go with Javier, like it was just gonna be Javier was gonna be my new name. But then, you know, upon further homework, I realized there's 130 Javiers on Spotify, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to be just like lost in the abyss.
Yeah. Right.
So I just found a name that there's no artists out there that have the name, not on Spotify, not that I've found.
Nice. Yeah.
And Javier Escuela, like it's spelled different in the game. But like in the game, it's spelled with 2 L's, and if that was in Spanish, like it would be escuela, which it's not a word.
Sure.
But escuela with 1 L is it means school, right? So it's funny because when I said I'm going to do Javier Escuela instead, my girlfriend Danica was there when I made the decision. It's like, Javier Escuela, what do you think? And she was like, what does escuela mean? And I said, it means school. And she's like, oh, so like School of Javi. And I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah. I was just thinking about the fucking character off Red Dead. You know what I mean? That's all I was thinking about.
That's dope. So, well, you're becoming a teacher too, aren't you? Aren't you?
Exactly.
About to be a teacher. So yeah, man. Okay.
Yeah, I just started my first tutoring job actually, like recently. So. Right
on. So it all lines up, man. How's the pandemic been for you? Like, I know a lot of artists have been struggling. It's been tough. You know, for anybody trying to balance, trying to have any sort of normalcy through this thing. I know, like, for artists, it's been even more difficult. How you been filling your time? I saw you started a podcast or are part of a podcast, the Moonlighters. CKXU program director Mike D asked me to ask when the next episode of that was coming up. but as well as that, what have you been doing to fill your time, man?
Well, the pandemic, it hasn't been so hard. I mean, I binge watched Ozark, listened to every single symphony by Mozart. Staying home lowered my overall amount of stress. Plus, I taught my kid how to count to 10 and the alphabet.
Hey.
No, but it's honestly like it's been bad, I guess, because like we're not doing as much, but it's been good because like we've been able to take some time to reflect, and like me and my daughter have taken some time to chill, and we've got this really tight bond together now, and it's been all around like a growing time. I've discovered things about myself that are like helping me with my future, and the whole name change thing is a big part of that. I wanted to just make music that I could stand behind a little bit more, and like make music that is more genuine to me as I am now, because a lot of the music that I was making was still about, you know, like it was from a lens that wasn't as mature as I wanted it to be, as mature as I felt I was. So I took a little break after Moolah, you know what I mean? Like I kind of just like all those singles that I released in between there was just like.
Did you feel
I don't
like
even know
Moolah wasn't mature? I felt like Moolah was mature.
It was, but it was very demotivating because it got the least like reception, and like I didn't promote it properly. I mean, I know that, but like
sure.
it wasn't, that's not the only thing that was demotivating. It was a little demotivating, but at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, this is my best work. I still listen to the Moolah EP.
There's jams on there, dude.
Yeah, and it's like,
can't think of the name of the track, but I played the hell out of one of those tracks. Gratitude, I think, maybe.
Yeah, Gratitude is my favorite joint for sure. Well, Moolah is my favorite joint, but like Gratitude is like my favorite joint to perform. I really like doing that one live, and I like doing those verses with different beats and different instrumentals and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Have you been missing the stage through the pandemic?
Kind of, but like, to be honest, I was like, before the pandemic started, I was kind of getting like crowd anxiety. Like, it was like months before the pandemic, I remember just like not wanting to be at shows unless I was directly on stage. And I was like, I would question myself about that feeling. I was like, I'm an entertainer, like, why am I feeling like this? And I figured it was because a lot of the stuff that I was doing was like party music and like music that I wanted people to like dance to, and I wasn't like being true to myself, you know what I mean? I was like kind of compromising with older music because I know people like to hear it live, you know what I mean?
Sure, you're trying to make music for people to turn up to, and
so I stopped making music for other people, and I like started making music for myself. And I think that was a big part of like Moolah was that was music for me, you know what I mean? Like, that was the first time I really released a project that was like, I want to listen to this, but it's also like, it's helping me like grow as a person. So like, that's where I'm at. That's where I want to be with Javier Escuela as well. But kind of just a little bit more professional, like in a sense, like as far as my mixing and mastering, more consistent, with the videos more consistent, with the quality of music more consistent. Like, I'm combing through my songs now and like getting rid of so much shit and then rewriting it and just trying to make cohesive art, you know what I mean? That I want to hear, that I want to listen to.
Yeah, man. I really like Midnight Gospel. That's one of my favorites that you've dropped recently. I think it only came out, what, a week or two ago? But,
about a week ago.
Yeah, so I'm going to get that on the mix that'll play before this interview. And as well as a track by the True Apostles. So that new one, the Midnight Gospel, was produced by K-Dub from True Apostles, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he made the beat. So, and then it was engineered and mixed by Dustin Jensen, D's Wax.
D's Wax, yeah, right. I saw actually that you'd made a trip up to Edmonton to do some more work up at D's Wax's studio there. That's dope, man. Have you ever recorded out of town any other place? Like, have you ever traveled to record other studio?
Back in the day, yeah. One time we went to this place called the Beach in Calgary. You ever been to the Beach?
No. I mean,
think that's what it was called.
Since I was based in Edmonton, man, like I kind of slept on the Calgary scene a lot too, honestly.
Yeah, so this studio was crazy, man. It was like $1 million+ studio. And my buddy Crumbs, who is from Asbury Park, New Jersey, he lived in Calgary at the time because he was going to marry this Canadian girl. And I met him through the battle scene and through King of the Dot and shit. And he brought me to the studio that he was an engineer at. And this studio was like fucking wild. And like, apparently Metallica had recorded something there. And like, it was just,
one of those studios with plaques on the walls of rock bands.
Straight up. They had this whole spiel. The ceiling like went 6 inches up for like a proper orchestra. And like, it was just so fucking weird. But that was like, you know, that was like free, right? Like, we got to go in there for free because my homie was an engineer there. And like, I don't know, maybe we paid him like $90 or something for the hour that we were recording in there. Yeah. But like, you know, to be in that studio was a blessing. It's
inspiration to get in a studio that nice, man.
Yeah. But you know what? The thing is like, when Crumbs recorded it and when he mixed and mastered it, he sent it to us, and like, we sent it back and we're like, we need you to change this. And he was like, yeah, totally cool. But he's like, I'm going to do it at home or something. And he ended up building his own studio and not working at the Beach anymore. His own studio was actually better than this fucking $1 million studio. Nope. And he only invested like, I don't know, maybe like 50 grand or something. But it was crazy. Like, I don't know. I always felt like when we're recording with people, it's like, people want to record us if they want to record us. And if not, then like, I'll go with my people who I've recorded with before, who know what I'm saying.
I was just gonna say, man, $1 million studio only goes so far if the people are only used to recording kind of rock music or country music or whatever else, right? Like if they're not engineers who know how to work with a hip hop artist, or who know how to do a punch in, or who know how to, you know, there are skills you need to engineer hip hop that I totally agree, man. Like for me, ideally, if I'm recording myself, like I like recording myself because then I get to be as much of a perfectionist as I want. And I don't feel like there's somebody looking over my shoulder, that like I'm spending his time fucking up takes until I say the word just right or whatever, right? Like those things. So, you know, I think it's possible to have good recording sessions in various settings, but like for me, I like working alone. That's why this Twitch thing has been fucking beautiful for me, because I get to kind of share the process with people, but still feel like I'm not like wasting people's time. They don't need to be here if they're not enjoying themselves or whatever, man. But like for you, what's the writing process like? Like for somebody who's so adept with freestyling, do you jump in a booth and freestyle takes and then edit that shit, or do you sit and write? Like, what's your ideal writing process? Do you get a beat sent to you from somebody? Do you sit and have them make it with you? Go into how you like making music, man.
My beats just sit, man. Like a lot of times my beats will just sit. I'll like Keegan and Dustin are like my primary producers, and they'll send me numerous beats. And like sometimes when I get a beat, I'll be inspired and I'll start writing to it. But oftentimes I'll write in very broken up segments. Like I'll write like 4 bars, and then I'll write a 16 bar, and then I'll write another different 4 bars. And then I'll try and keep that kind of like, anything can be a chorus, anything can be a hook. The hook kind of finds itself, and then I put it where I want to put it. So like my process is usually messed up, because like even when I used to write on paper, like I got like I tried to write a song on paper the other day, because it's like there's something about, you know, penning shit down. It's funny because I always found it different. It's like when I write on my phone or on my computer, I find that like my vocabulary is a little bit better, but my cadence is always a little less, you know, like I have to really work on my cadence. I have to work on my cadence when I write on my phone, which I've learned to do because I mostly write on my phone. Like 99% of the time I write on my phone. Yeah. But like when I write edits on paper, I like stuff on paper, but I want to go back and edit it, so it's tough on paper, like, you know. Like I'll have like I'll write like the first 2 lines that I write is like, no, scrap it, right? And then I'll like write little notes on top of my shit, and I'll, you know, sometimes I'll have typical, with this song here, I have 2 different colors, because it's like the 2 different colors are representative of like 2 different people. Like so it's like a conversation or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But it's like my writing kind of like always comes from the beat. Like I'll listen to a beat and I'll write, but then I won't have to use the beat to write the whole song. Often I'll just like shut the beat off, and I'll just like try and stay on a cadence that can match. And if it doesn't match, I'll just scrap it and put it to another beat or something. Right, but like I always try and have like a collection of beats, because like I have ADHD, so like when I fixate on something, I have to like really take advantage of it, because it's not going to be long before I bounce to something else. Sure. Yeah. Right. So I'll switch to another beat, or I'll switch to something else, like doing something else altogether. Yeah. And I won't come back to that shit until, you know, like weeks later sometimes. Like so here's a question: are you the type of artist with like a stash full of unfinished songs? Like, oh man, yeah, I probably got 30 plus songs kind of that I'm working on, or like have done takes on, that are just half formulated. Maybe the mix isn't right, maybe this isn't right, whatever, but it's not ready yet, right? But some MCs just record something, they're done with it, they put that shit out. Yeah, I try to do that, but like back in the day, I recorded a lot of bullshit, and I've still got some of that bullshit, and some of that bullshit gets sent out as like, you know, a bonus for pre-saving a track or something. And I'll be like, it's a good song, but I just don't like it. You know what I mean? It's like, here, you can have it. And I've always been in the mentality, like some people will shit on an artist, like I'm talking about like famous artists or whatever, about like, oh, Nas shouldn't have put that song on fucking you know, King's Disciple or whatever, or like Street's Disciple. I mean, like that his double disc album could have had less songs, and I'm always like, I
I'd rather hear every song Nas has ever recorded, personally. Like, my favorite MCs, just let me hear it. A bad song from some of those guys is going to be better. So I'm sure you do have, you know, fans who appreciate you sharing those bonuses with them or whatever.
Yeah,
man.
for sure. Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, I don't often get the chance to like record the songs that I'm not 100% on. Like, I won't record them because it's like, that's just like a part of the process that isn't necessary if I'm not okay with the song.
Sure.
And
so
like,
you don't have like a home recording setup, eh? Because as soon as I write something, I'm recording it. Like,
yeah, no, I don't. I have, like, in the past, I've owned my own stuff. I've rented stuff. Like, me and Jerry rented stuff from Long and McQuaid for a month. You know, we just rented a whole bunch of shit for a month to record our album. We recorded our album.
McQuaid's the cheat code, man. They'll lend shit out to anybody. Any artist watching this shit, if you need equipment, go to Long and McQuaid.
It's good quality stuff. They always give you, like, you know, it's usually like base level, but it's like the good base level stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So
well,
it's
the credit checks they do are like a joke. It's like, you vouch for yourself and they'll fucking give you credit.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did want to bring up though, man, like, so the K-Dub beat, I've seen you featured on a few True Apostles tracks recently. I've seen you on, you know, Jast had an album last year that you were on, featuring with like Ontk and Yatsin, those guys. I just wanted to ask, like, are there, since we're here putting a little spotlight on Lethbridge, like, do you got shout outs to give to other artists? Who should people be checking for? For that matter, am I sleeping on Lethbridge artists? Like, do you guys listen to ATSIC and be like, why doesn't he ever play this guy? This guy represents Lethbridge.
I'm not gonna say I listen to every show, but the shows that I do catch, I'm usually pretty appreciative with how many Lethbridge artists you play.
I try
there's
my
definitely
best,
there's definitely a few that like you're missing out on, which is fine, because I'm sure there's a few that I'm missing out on, and I'm like, I've been trying to pay attention.
But
like,
no, open my eyes to it, man. Seriously, this is the question that I really like wanted to start doing these interviews for, was like, I want the people who are involved in the hip hop scenes to tell me who's dope on each hip hop scene, you know, so that I can pick them up and start playing them on ATSIC.
I hope I don't miss anybody, but I might. I got like posters right here. Perfect. Okay, so as you were saying, ONTK, True Apostles, L Rev.
Can I pause just for 1 sec? Sorry, Javi, but ONTK.
Our Neighbor the King.
Yeah, so it's a collective of guys, right? Like, is Johnson ONTK?
He repped ONTK, yeah, absolutely.
Is Chronic Phonics ONTK? Like, from what I'm trying to gather, is it like ONTK? I'm like, okay, so is Chronic Phonics the MC for ONTK?
He is the primary MC, yes.
Okay.
But over the years, there have been many homies that are really dope at rapping who just like make random appearances on their songs.
Okay.
But it's primarily Brett, Chronic Phonics, and Yatsin. And Yatsin does the beats, and he does the mixing, and he does the DJing, and then Chronic does all the rapping.
Okay, I appreciate you for clarifying these things for me.
This is why
I needed to have this conversation.
Yeah, so don't get it twisted. If you've heard Montoya,
I know that one, yeah.
So all their voices are
like
lowered.
Screwed voice or whatever, right?
There's like 5 people on that song.
Okay.
There's like 5 different rappers on that song.
I could tell it's several different people, yeah, and I could recognize like Chronic Phonics is on there, but I didn't know who else was. Yeah.
Yatsin is on the last verse, and Yatsin is tight. Like, his raps are dope. He's got this real like Too Short West Coast fucking like swag about him. Like, he's got this voice and this flow that like really, I love it. It's cool. It's like, it reminds me of some LA shit.
So we need to encourage these people to make more music.
Yeah. So ONTK originally was Chronic Phonics and his homie DK up in Lloydminster. And DK is also a phenomenal rapper. But when Brett moved from Lloydminster to Lethbridge, him and DK agreed that they could keep doing the ONTK thing with new people in Lethbridge, and like DK even came and appeared at a couple shows. But then that's when Yatsin like basically got integrated, and like there was a couple other homies. Shout outs to Benji, that's Baseline. Shout outs to Seth. He's a porter at the hospital, and he's fucking dope. Big Bear, I think, is what he went by, but he only rapped on like 3 songs. But dude is like, and this is like coming from me, like, he's lyrically dope. Like, he's really, really good, and his voice is slick. Like these guys are dope. It's hilarious, and they don't rap.
This
fucking
is the
hate
thing,
it.
man. There's so much local talent in every different scene that just gets slept on, right? That are so dope.
But like Chronic Phonics and Yachts in themselves are equally as dope, if not doper. Chronic is very well versed in writing, and he's a smart fucking guy.
Yeah.
And really, really dope cat. And then like, so it's like Super Crew is like kind of like the conglomerate. Like Jerry came up with this Super Crew concept.
So Super Crew wider than ONTK?
Yeah,
then?
Super Crew is like the whole thing. So Super Crew is like True Apostles, ONTK, Sammy and the Fiend, Wolf Boy and Shedbeat Boys. Who else we got here? You know,
Ollie X?
honorable mention, shout out to JPB. Ollie X is Super Crew all fucking day. Yeah, Ollie X Super Crew. Everybody that like falls within this sphere, if they want to rap Super Crew, fucking welcome. But if they don't, all good. You know what I mean? Like it's no love lost, because it's like Super Crew, SCFU started as basically like a group of artists that were tired of being fucked over by shady promoters who would come and go. And so like
props to that, man. Fuck shady promoters.
For real, man. And we were like, we were so entitled. I still feel entitled because having Buddha as a promoter in the early days, I wasn't as grateful as I should have been. I took him for granted big time, and I didn't realize that until after he died, sadly. But like, he did so much for us that like when other promoters would come through, we realized like, yo, there's never going to be a time like with Buddha. So Super Crew started as SCFU, which was short for Super Crew Fuck You, because the promoter that didn't like us had a chant at his little fucking show, 12 people, that was like, Super Crew fuck you. And he was saying Super Crew fuck you because he didn't like Super Crew. So we just made that our moniker, SCFU, and it was Super Crew Forever United. Okay. Right. So and then like that came from Jerry. That's all Heavy Knowledge, aka that Heavy Knowledge is his old name. I shouldn't even say that one. That's Jerry Jeremiah Morrison.
Okay, yeah. And I can't keep up with what name he's using. Jerry Jack. That's the one we're supposed to.
Jerry's his name. I always call him Jerry, but I'm pretty sure his artist name is Jeremiah. Okay. So like he's going with Jeremiah, and it's like spelled different because his. I mean,
most of the time I get to just say True Apostles. This is the True Apostles.
Yeah, exactly. You can. Yeah. And that's even his handle. So at True_Apostles is his handle. So
yeah, right.
But like it's a conglomerate, and then there's Wolf Boy. If you get the chance to check out Wolf Boy, have you heard Alex?
Yeah, I've heard some Wolf Boy. Yeah,
Wolf Boy's
So High,
dope.
I think, was track that played a bunch. Yeah,
he released a new one. Recently, he released one called Bad Habits. That's really good. That's a tight joint.
Gotta check that.
Yeah. Also, Sammy and the Fiend. If you know Sammy and the Fiend,
I've seen their name more on like posters. Do they have music out?
They have music out. They do a lot of covers.
Okay.
Not covers, but like remix covers. Not a lot. They've got a couple. I shouldn't say a lot, but Sammy and the Fiend are super dope. They're on Spotify. They've got more stuff. I think on
what
like
I've heard from
shit.
them, like featured on stuff. Or I don't know where.
Very
I saw
proper shit. Shout outs to Tyler and shout outs to Braden. Both of them are awesome cats. Lovely humans. And
I don't know. That's a lot, but anybody else who feel it?
Yeah, for sure, man. Ollie, obviously, check out Ollie's shit.
He's got a new one I played on episode 5 of the season 3 here. Last episode, played one of his. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but it was dope.
Nice. Also, I know I'm missing people. Yeah. How
about like Kyle Pike? I've played some Kyle Pike on here. Is he still local?
Shout outs to Kyle Pike. Around? He hasn't been as active.
Yeah, okay.
But definite shout outs to Kyle Pike. He's fam.
He did put something out in the 2 years I've been doing ATSIC. I can remember.
Yeah. I think he's put out a couple tracks here and there, but definitely would like to hear more from him.
It's great to try to do what we can to put as much light as we can on all these artists from down here, man, because they really are dope. Like moving down here, I was like, this is gonna suck. There's not gonna be nearly as many MCs, but like, no, there's a lot of talent here. There's probably a lot of talent in any city you go to if you actually embed yourself in it and start looking for it. So,
have you heard of Digitrip?
And Digitrip, no, that's...
Yeah, they're pretty dope. So there's this young kid who's, I don't know if he's got any music on Spotify. I think he might have a track or two, but I saw him perform at a show. He's this little native kid, and what was his name? I can't remember his name, but the crew goes by in Digitrip. So like drip as in like because they have a clothing line, I'm pretty sure.
All right, yeah.
And yeah, shout outs to them. I want to get as much shout outs to some of the younger cats, some of the kids that I've met.
Nice.
You know, homies like
Sorry.
Donnie Sage, definitely give him a shout out. He's super dope. He kind of like jumps around the internet. He's very elusive, but baby, I'm downstairs. My daughter's calling me. She's just chilling upstairs, like she's just hanging out. I was like, baby, I got an important interview to do.
Oh, well, I won't keep you too much longer, dude. I just I did want to ask, and especially since you're talking about your daughter right now, how do you feel about, like, should rappers be looked at, artists in general even, should they be looked at as role models? How much do you feel like you know, what you say in your songs needs to be checked over because, you know, you got a daughter who might listen to those songs someday or whatever, right?
Yeah. I think like the first line of defense is home, man. Like, I think, you know, the kid has to have role models in real life. And I think that based around those role models in real life, you know, you can decide, here, come say hi. You can decide who is, you know, worthy of being a role model in the media, because I think one thing that's important, let me finish. Okay, baby. One thing that's important when it comes to kids is teaching them how to interpret media in general, right? How to teach them
totally critical thinking and
yeah, man, like being able to decide for themselves. And like one of the ways to do that is with autonomy, and I heavily believe in that, like believe in giving them autonomy. And so I feel like I feel like I was exposed to a lot of crazy shit when I was a kid, and not because of my parents, despite my parents, but like it was kind of this mentality in my house where it was like, you know what, you're gonna see these things and you could see worse, and like
I want society's gonna show all those evil things to kids one way or the other. So so like
even when it comes to like, you know, swearing and stuff, like I try not to filter myself too much around her, because like I want her to know what the real world is like. I want her to know how the real world is. So part of that is like in interpreting media, right? Like watching her favorite shows, and like I make sure that she knows that these shows aren't real, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a different plane of existence that isn't real. You know what I mean? It's created
that type of guidance will go so far, dude. So
yeah, absolutely, it only goes so far. And I mean, like no,
I didn't say it'll only go so far. I said that'll go so far. Like, you're doing good, man. I think that's all you can do, is instill your child with good morals and good critical thinking. And
we try, right? And that's the thing, is like I remember one time a child psychology teacher told me, like in one of my college courses, she says, you're gonna mess up your kids. There's nothing you can do.
Parents make
mistakes. Gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gonna happen. They're gonna get traits from you that are gonna be undesirable. Because guess what? All of your traits aren't desirable.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that until you're like,
we've all got work to do.
Yeah, we've all got so much work to do. And it's funny because she shows me, no, don't pull that mine. Don't pull it. If you break it, then I can't give it to you. Remember? Okay. But you gotta, like, you know, I mean, it's just like it's one of those things. It just makes me lose track of what I'm thinking of.
All good. I got like 2 more questions, just real quick. What's the best way for fans to help out artists like yourself in this modern era? Like, I always tell people, you know, go support the artists that I'm playing on ATSIC. They're all independent artists, and it'll make a difference, you know. But what would your advice be for people who are looking to help artists?
I think sharing goes a long way, and just engaging on the internet. But I think that sharing is kind of one of those things that's like, you can do it a proper way, and then there's ways that some people do it that isn't really effective, or sometimes it's like counterproductive. It'll make people not want to check you out.
Sure.
And like spam, you know, when people get spammed and stuff. But I think that like when it comes down to it, it's like supporting in whatever way you can. by liking stuff on the internet, by listening to a song, adding it to a playlist, sharing it with somebody. Even if you're not sharing it on the internet, that's fine.
Even if
but
it's
if
not
you
the
share
share
it
button.
with,
Tell
yeah,
somebody.
if you share it with one person out of the 10 people you know who are into hip hop and might be into this, then you show that one person whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? That's a huge way, because like as artists, we try and get people to go from that prospective fan, the very introductory phase. It's like a relationship, right?
Yeah.
So you get into that introductory phase, and then all of a sudden you move down the cycle into, you know, a place where they are going to refer you enthusiastically to somebody. And in between all those steps is like a process, and like you want to get, it's just like you're going to a party, right? Like you don't walk up to somebody and be like, hey, what's up? My name's Javi. Can I get your number? You know what I mean? Like that's a really like invasive. It's like, whoa, like maybe it'll work, but like most times it'll be like, whoa, that was really fast. You know what I mean? Like chill. But there's things where you have to like gratify people. You have to make people feel like they're part of something, and like even if it's small, it's like you are the seeds. We are all the seeds. Let's help this shit grow.
Totally, man. You know, like before you called in this afternoon, like earlier on the making of ATSIC video, I was talking about how I think a lot of people kind of get wrapped up in. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I think it's important for an artist to do interviews like this and to present a side of themselves that is a real person, because it helps with what you're talking about, that introduction, right? It helps people feel like you're somebody who's not just, I don't know, an arrogant rapper yelling at them or whatever, which is like a lot of the time when we hear hip hop, that's what it's going to feel like for the first time that we're listening to it. Like, who is this guy and why is he so arrogant, right? Not at all what I'm saying about you, but just in general, that's what a lot of the time people get presented with. So I think it's like, you know, you asked, and I want to tell everybody that you asked if you could freestyle on the show, and the only reason that we're not doing it is because, like, tech wise, I don't know how to play the beats on my end and have you rap over it, but I would love to have that happen. But at the same time, I'm glad that you came to do this, and I think that what this is doing is helping in a way that maybe a freestyle, I mean, I know that the freestyle is what's going to go viral, you know, like that's the 4-minute clip people want to see on Instagram to watch over and over or whatever. But I feel like having conversation like this does a lot to just like flesh out the real person behind the music. And as well, it helps people because you have knowledge that you can share about how the scene works and how things have happened to you, and people can take that information and use it. You know, it's like I like reading artists' biographies to learn those same lessons from other people's, you know, footsteps. So appreciate you coming by, talking, and, you know, filling me in personally on the local scene here that I've been repping for the last 2 years because they offered me the shows. You know, man, it's been a wild ride, but I appreciate you guys putting out all the good music for me to play. Last question, I guess, is what's next for you? What can we watch for next? Where do we find you? Yeah.
Yo, Bless, thank you for having me on. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate this platform. Next up, I'm going to be dropping a video for the Midnight Gospel track probably in the next week or two. Just getting some final animations done. And then
is it all animated? Song. Or
it's not all animated. It's like it's a pretty It's a cool concept. It's some of the pictures that I put on my Instagram recently, like the close-ups of my face. Those are part of the video. It was shot by Nick Boley. Shout out to him. Directed by Gianna Isabella with Gate 67. Animations are done by Jeremiah.
Nice.
And that's going to be dope. Like, it's a really cool looking video so far, and we still are yet to finalize the animation and throw it on there. So
awesome.
Releasing another song, try and doing one every month and a half. So next song is coming out in April, early April, Mr. Debt Collector. That's going to be a dope joint. Basically a song about credit card companies calling me way too early.
Is there an album coming? Like, there's been a lot of singles. Are these singles off an album or doing singles?
No, it's gonna keep on doing singles, and you know, like, if one day I put together a piece of work with consistent enough,
Sure.
you know, production, then I'll release an album. But or if I have a concept that like needs to be an album, then yeah. But like, I don't know. I feel like any album that I've done. Yeah, like Mula was cool because it was an EP and it was like I could kind of stay on topic a little bit, you know what I mean? Like most of the songs are pretty related, so
even as far as like matching production for, you know, 6 or 7 tracks to make an EP,
like kind of a lo-fi feel, you know, blah blah blah.
I don't think like albums are dead by any means, but we're certainly in an era of singles where it doesn't all need to be attached to a single or to an album. I was just wondering. But
yeah,
how about social media, man?
Javier Escuela on all platforms. That's Javier. If you don't know how to spell it, you should. It's Javier and then Escuela, Escuela. Javier Escuela on all music platforms. And then for my social media, it's Javier Escuela 101 on everything. Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. TikTok. Follow me on TikTok too. I make funny TikToks sometimes.
Right on, man. Yeah, I can vouch. You are active on social media. I see on Instagram,
Twitch as well too. I'm known to stream every once in a while on Twitch. So if you follow me at L Rev LREV 4003, I do stream once in a while, like once in a blue moon.
I'll give you the follow. You should hit me back with a follow.
Yeah, of course, man. And I stay on Twitch because of King of the Dot. So like I love King of the Dot and I love Twitch. So yeah.
Well, hey, on Tuesday afternoons it's making of ATSIC. So you know, you're always welcome as well as everybody else. Come by, hang out and chat, fucking listen to new music every week, right? I'm trying to build it into a place where people can just come hang out and hear what's new and talk about it. So
I'll subscribe and I'll hit that bell.
Hey, man, appreciate it. And appreciate you coming through. I look forward to hearing all the new music. And yeah, everybody make sure you check out Midnight Gospel. That's his newest single. Played it to finish off episode 6 of ATSIC. So yeah, thanks, man. Catch you next time.
Appreciate you. Much love, Doobyis. Take it easy, bro.
Peace.